4493. Is that a duplex?
It is, that's correct. 4493 is its own address, but there is an attached unit of a different address to the south side of the building.
Did you observe a vehicle in the driveway at that residence at the time you arrived?
Even when I was still en route and hadn't made it to the address yet, Officer Foote relayed to me via our police radio that he could see a tan Buick Rendezvous in the driveway.
And when you arrived, could you see that same vehicle?
I did observe that vehicle in the driveway, yes.
And was approach made on the vehicle to see if anyone was inside of it?
Officer Foote and I approached the vehicle together and we made contact with Latrell King, who was seated in the front seat, driver's seat of that vehicle.
Was anyone else in the vehicle at that time?
No, he was the only one.
At that point, was Mr. King detained per your investigation?
He was. Officer Foote had also located through the police database known as LEAN that Mr. King had an active warrant. So he was detained based on the active warrant as soon as we made contact with him.
Now, at a certain point in time after the defendant was detained, did you have a chance to make contact with Miss Van Warmer herself?
I did. I made contact with Miss Van Warmer inside her residence after Mr. King was detained.
How was her demeanor at that time? How did she appear to you when she spoke with you?
She told me, and I recorded it in my report, that she was afraid that Mr. King was going to kill her.
And did you have a chance to ask her about some events that led up to her calling 911 on that early morning hours?
I did.
Before you say what she told you, Mr. Souter, you want to ask a few more preparatory questions?
Sure. Thank you, Judge. Did she seem anxious or startled or upset at all when you were speaking with her?
Aside from her telling me that she was afraid that Mr. King was going to kill her, I don't recall her other emotional states.
Now, in terms of what she ultimately ended up telling you, was it within close proximity of you arriving to the residence and speaking with her?
Yes, it was within a few moments of when I arrived on scene.
Okay. So what she was indicating to you was very shortly before you arrived?
Correct. That's true.
Okay. Now, I guess, did you learn the relationship at that point between Miss Van Warmer and the defendant?
I did. Miss Van Warmer told me that they were friends, but by her definition, not
Your
boy.
Honor, I'd object. I still don't feel a foundation has been laid. Said that she gave him these statements shortly after he arrived, but that still doesn't fit within the framework for a PSI.
I believe I'll let you answer.
Judge, I think it's covered under present sense impression. I also believe that the hearsay exception to the actual statements is also covered under MCL 768.27C. And I believe he's allowed to get into the statements that she made to him in the early morning hours on that date.
I'll overrule the objection. Proceed.
Thank you. Do you recall where you were at in your answer?
Could you ask the question again, please?
Did you determine the relationship at that point between Miss Van Warmer and the defendant?
Miss Van Warmer told me that she and Mr. King were friends. They were not boyfriend and girlfriend by her definition, but she did advise that they did have a sexually intimate component to their relationship.
Thank you. And did you notice any markings on Miss Van Warmer on her face when you were speaking with her?
I noticed that she had a bruise on her upper lip.
Did she indicate to you how she received that bruise?
Miss Van Warmer told me that on August 28th, she was busted in the face by Mr. King. It happened in the city of Saginaw on 16th Street is what she told me.
Thank you. Were you able to ask about the events leading up to her calling 911 on the 30th, though?
I was. On that date, on the 30th, Ms. Van Warmer indicated to me that she'd actually called 911 on separate occasions. At approximately 03:30 hours, so 3:30 in the morning on that day, she had called 911 because she could hear voices outside her residence. She left her residence in her car and told the dispatcher, the 911 operator, that she was going to travel to the Saginaw Township Police headquarters to speak with police there. While she was traveling, she stayed on the line with the dispatcher and then updated them and said, no, I'm going to the Kroger parking lot instead. She then told the dispatcher that my phone is about to die, and then the line went dead. Dispatchers tried to call her back, and they weren't able to make contact with her.
After that, did she eventually recontact 911?
At 0430 hours, 4:30 in the morning is when she called 911. Again, that's when I responded to the scene, to her house on Mackinac.
Did she indicate whether or not the defendant was following her when she left her house?
At 0330 hours, the first time she called 911, she said that she was being followed by King, who was driving a tan Buick Rendezvous.
And what did she tell you in relation to the defendant following her in his actions?
When I spoke to her at 0430 hours, the second time she called 911, she explained to me that the reason she diverted to Kroger parking lot instead of traveling to our headquarters was because Mr. King had intentionally was traveling side by side with her and intentionally jerked the wheel to the side, trying to strike her vehicle with his, forcing her to turn left onto Himmeter Drive, which points her in the direction of Kroger's.
I apologize if you just stated, but did Ms. Van Wormer indicate if she had to take evasive maneuvers at that point?
Yes, she said she had to divert from her intended course to our headquarters and turn down Himmeter Drive to avoid being struck.
Now, finally, when she again called 911 at 4:30, did she indicate to you, and you stated before that she felt threatened or scared that the defendant would kill her, did she indicate where she was in the house while she was calling 911?
She had said she had hidden in the bathroom in the inside of her house to call 911.
Was there a reason why she hid in the bathroom?
And she told me that she was afraid that Mr. King was going to break in the house and kill her.
Now, if you were to see Mr. King again, would you recognize him?
I would say that I noted that we identified him based off his Michigan driver's license photo. I don't think that I would be able to pick him out again.
Okay, so you didn't have much interaction with the defendant on that date in particular?
I did speak with him. I did interview him that day, yes.
Now, officer, were some pictures taken from this investigation on that date?
Yes, we took pictures on this case. It's protocol for our department to take pictures on all domestic violence cases, and so we followed that protocol and took pictures in this instance.
If I may approach, Your Honor.
You may.
Now, officer, in People's Proposed number 3, that first photograph, what are we looking at there?
This is a photograph of Miss Van Wormer's residence and a tan Buick Rendezvous parked in the driveway on the side of the driveway that corresponds with Miss Van Wormer's residence.
Is it same Buick Rendezvous that the defendant was located in?
Yes.
And then going to number 4, the second photograph, can you describe what we're looking at in that proposed exhibit?
This is a photograph of Miss Van Wormer taken on the night that, or the morning that I interviewed her. This is how she appeared when she spoke with me.
And can you see the mark above her lip that she described to you as well?
I do see the bruise on her upper lip, yes.
Are both those pictures fair and accurate to what you observed on that date of August 30th of last year?
They are.
Thank you. At this point in time, Judge, we'd move to admit People's 3 and 4.
Mr. Crowe.
Your Honor, we understand the court's prior ruling. I'd still make an objection for purposes of the record under relevance, as well as 403 confusion and misleading.
All right. Exhibits 3 and 4 will be admitted.
Thank you, Judge. If I can publish one of those.
You may.
Thank you. This is People's 3, officer. Again, what are we looking at in this photograph?
So you can make out 2 garage doors in that photograph there. The garage door on the right side of the photograph corresponds with Miss Van Wormer's address, her part of the building, her home, and the Buick Rendezvous parked in front of that garage door would be on the side of the driveway that would be associated with Ms. Van Warmer's residence.
Thank you. And then people's number 4.
And then that's a picture of Ms. Van Warmer taken that morning of August 30th when I spoke with her.
Thank you. A moment, Your Honor. I don't have a question, Your Honor.
All right, questions, Mr. Crawford?
No questions, Your Honor.
You may step down, officer.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Call your next witness, Mr. Souter.
Judge, at this time, we would call Dan Weaver to testify. Mr. Weaver, if you could state your full name and spell your last name for the record.
Daniel Weaver, Weaver.
Mr. Weaver, can you state what your profession is, please?
I'm the executive director at Saginaw County 911.
In general, what's your role as the director at Saginaw 911?
Pretty much ensuring the smooth operations of 911 to include all, making sure all systems are fully operational.
And can you briefly describe how calls get cataloged when they come into 911 and how they're associated with a particular event?
Sure. A call rings in, a citizen will call 911 using their cell phone or landline, and it's directed to a dispatcher who takes the call and enters it into our computer-aided dispatch or CAD system. That is the call of record, which then that information that gets set for appropriate agency for response, whether it's police, fire, or medical.
And to an extent, is an event associated sometimes with an address?
That is correct.
And in this particular case, did you have a chance to compile some 911 calls, specifically 3 of them, associated with an address at 4493 Mackinac Road in the township?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And again, the date that those are associated with was at August 30th of last year?
I believe that's correct, sir.
Okay. And Judge, if I may approach.
You may.
And Mr. Weaver, I showed you people's proposed 46. Did you recognize this CD?
Yes, sir. It's the CD that was provided to the police department and prosecutor's office in reference to this case.
And did you have a chance to listen to the CD prior to coming in here today?
I did, sir.
Were you able to authenticate its credibility and it depicts what we've already talked about?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it fair and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Judge, at this point in time, we'd move to admit people's proposed 46.
Mr. Crawford.
I'd make the same objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 46 will be admitted.
If I may play it, Your Honor.
You may.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions for Mr. Weaver, Judge.
All right, questions, Mr. Crawford?
No questions, Your Honor.
You may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Call your next witness, Mr. Souter.
Judge, at this time, we would call Denisha Armstrong to testify. Judge, if we could approach real quick.
Okay. Gentlemen, I've been told the witness is 2 minutes away, which means it'll take her 5 minutes to get here and 7 minutes to walk in, and we're going to take a short break rather than sit here for another 10 minutes.